How's your 9 o'clock meeting? Better or worse? I think it'll work out.
Sending the 3 operators. 9 o'clock.
Okay, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. Line item number 3, public testimony. Anybody not on the agenda may appear before the court at this time.
We have Olga. Are you here to speak? You may speak. Oh, no? Okay, Roman, this is Belinda Silva. Are you here to speak? No?
I just want to say thank you for giving us this opportunity for all the nonprofits. You certainly paid it forward, and I think it's going to help all our community and rural communities as well. So from the bottom of all our hearts, thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Dale Wilson? I don't know. Okay, Linda?
Right here.
Did you have anything to say?
Yes, I'd like to say thank you. Like Belinda said, I'm Linda Garcia. On behalf of the VFW Auxiliary 8621, thank you for the opportunity. We're looking forward to getting good news, especially because it's for our veterans, and that is our main cause, helping our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Gracie and Julie, anything?
Good morning, Commissioners Court. My name is Gracie Perez, and I am a citizen here in Alice. I'm a volunteer I'm the unit director for Jim Wells County for the Salvation Army. And I'd like to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to serve more people with this money that we use. We have such a big need. Every single day I'm getting phone calls. So this money will be given back to the community, and we appreciate it. And this is my supervisor.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Julie Gausin. I am the representative for Salvation Army, and I am the one that oversees the area here in James Wells County.
Thank you.
Got nobody else.
Okay, Sheriff's not here today. No. Okay, not being Eddie, we'll go to line item number 4. Discuss, consider, and hear presentation on the American Rescue Plan Act, nonprofit grant scoring review committee recommendations, and take action on the final award and allocations of an amount. Ms. Moran.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Commissioners. Glad to be here this morning. And thank you to all the nonprofits who are here. I'm sure they're anxiously awaiting to hear any news on the awards.
Yeah, we have a copy. Everybody has a copy, right?
Yeah.
Not of that one. Not of that one. You're on the, no, we don't have that one. We have this one. We have this. Is it under there?
Okay.
If I have it, maybe under here.
The amounts that they request.
They
You'll be going over the request anyway, right?
Yes, sir.
You'll be going
I
over
sure
that.
will. So we're here today to present grant funds to nonprofits, and we want to consider this as an opportunity to invest in our communities and to partner with these organizations that provide such a vital service to our communities in Jim Wells County. I would like to thank the county commissioners for their continued interest in their community and investing in our community. So in response to the economic and pandemic and the impact that it presented to nonprofit organizations, you all created a grant program in order to assist them in their recovery efforts. You were historically made decisions to use the ARPA monies in accordance with the ARPA recommendations to award nonprofits that serve low to moderate income residents. So I would like to thank you as your ARPA administrator in your continued interest in investing our community. The county commissioners, through a series of community participation meetings, recognized the economic hardship that many nonprofits experienced and allocated $600,000 to ARPA funds for a maximum award of $50,000 for nonprofit organizations to enable them to expand and to provide and deliver services to their residents. Since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, nonprofits have served on the front lines, working to protect the health and well-being of our residents and driving our economic recovery within our communities. Nonprofits are the foundation of our community. Together with nonprofits, Jimwell County has highlighted their critical role and the key services that they provide. These nonprofits receiving grant assistance are helping residents stay in their homes and keep food on the table. They are steering their communities into the future and helping residents, especially the vulnerable populations and those that are impacted by the pandemic. So the process that we went through, and I'd like to remind the public how we got here today to award some of these ARPA grant funds to these deserving nonprofits. First, the community participation meetings outlined that nonprofits were essential to the recovery of our economy. So Commissioners Courts awarded an allocation of $600,000. We created an application process. We held a workshop with all the nonprofits. We had a great turnout. And as a result, we received over 21 nonprofit applications. I met individually with each organization that submitted an application. We went over the application, we discussed the expectations and the reporting requirements, and we talked about the scope of their proposal, so to make sure that they met the eligibility criteria. Next, Jimwell County, through the commissioners, established a scoring review committee to review the applications and to make funding recommendations. This 5-member committee was created to work towards the county's mission of recommending allocating these funds equitably. By assembling this group with unique experiences, Jimwell County has incorporated direct resident feedback through every step of the ARPA investment process. I would like to thank our scoring committee, Mr. John Ahrens, the chairperson of the scoring committee, Nora Gonzalez, Ms. Gonzalez is here, Norma C. Salas, Lily Rodriguez, and Roxy Torres for their tireless efforts and dedication to our community. Together, this group appointed a chairperson, spent tireless evenings and hours reviewing and evaluating the grant applications for completeness and eligibility requirements based on the following criteria: scoring on the application itself, the scope of work that the proposal presented, the capacity to manage the grant, the goals and outcomes, leveraging, budget, and any associated documents to represent their proposal. The committee also established a funding formula that was based on a percentage of the nonprofit's score. So that's what you will see on the score rating sheet. The final recommendations have been submitted to the county commissioners for final award and allocation consideration. The recommendations of this scoring committee is designed to provide both relief and recovery to our community and serving those disproportionately impacted by this pandemic. By partnering with these nonprofits, the Jim Wells County Commissioners is advancing communities meeting the needs of the most vulnerable and people, and to provide a bridge to sustain these nonprofits. So at this time, I would like to review the scoring and the funding requests. As you can see by this sheet, the total applications, which 21 applications, 18 were funded, and the original request was for almost over $1 million. It was $996,309. And as you can see, we only had $600,000 to allocate. So the scoring committee had tremendous work to do in identifying what those priorities were going to be. So next, we have the rating sheet that you have before you at this time. If one of the commissioners would like to call out these awards, or would you like to take, a commissioner, if you would like to take a vote, or how would you like to proceed with these?
Well, awarding the amount, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
We can read them out loud and then vote on all of them together.
Okay.
I think, you want to read them, or you want me to read them, or
You all can read them if you'd like.
go ahead,
Is this, so this is a recommendation for the committee towards
This is
us?
the recommendation that is before you with the scoring committee using the formula that they adopted. I did forget to mention, I have turned over. This committee took their job very seriously. We held numerous meetings in the evenings, just going through each application, and we took minutes. All of that has been turned over to Ms. Gonzalez for the record.
Before we do that, I'd like to just thank all these committee members that were, a lot of them were from out of town, and I know it was weeks that you guys met together. I know you all met in my office where you're in Dallas. And I'd really like to thank all of them for the hard work and dedication to be able to participate in this. And I congratulate everybody here today.
And
This is what makes it fair for everybody, is that it's gone to the committee, not
Yes, sir.
Right.
it's on us.
The scoring,
Good.
the criteria.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
everybody.
y'all did a great job of breaking it all down, and I know that they worked tirelessly. And I'm sure that we each kept up with our representatives and, had feedback.
And I'd like to thank Commissioner Huicho Gonzalez for allowing the scoring committees to meet in the evenings and provided staff to accommodate us and to use the building here in Alice. Thank you, Commissioner Huicho Gonzalez, for
above
your
all,
generous-
I'd like to thank all the nonprofit
exactly.
organizations for, their dedication, their hard work, and, this is, 600,000 sounds like a lot of money, it's not. But, that's what we could do this year, and, hopefully, I don't know if we'll ever get any more American Rescue Plan Act monies, but if we do, we'll probably do the same.
And the beauty of this is that you're serving the entire Jim Wells County, not just one area. We had applicants from most all of the areas that you represent as commissioners. So thank you for having the dedication and commitment to service these nonprofits who provide a vital.
You want me to read out the?
Yes, sir, would you please?
That's good.
My glasses.
I gotta get my
I brought the
cheater
wrong
on.
ones.
Okay, the names of the nonprofit recipients would be Emmanuel Ministry Incorporated, $5,000. Templo Monte del Olivar, $30,000. Rural Economic Assistance Real, $50,000. Salvation Army of Alice, 42,500. I have to go through the.
Yeah, the lines that,
A little small there.
Yeah, so anyway.
try to enlarge it for you.
Alice Volunteer Service Pantry, Food Pantry was 40,000. Okay. United Connection Counseling, 35,000. Jim Wells County Fair Association, 37,500. Black History Delegation, 30,000. Amigos for Education, 15,000. Community Action Corporation, 50,000. Jim Wells Habitat for Humanity, 50,000. Victoria's Frontline Ministry, 30,000. Alice Coyote Football Alumni Association, 15,000. Alice Memorial VFW Auxiliary, 22,500. YMCA of Alice, 50,000. Sames Ministry. Okay, let me go around, let me go across this here like this.
40,000. 40,000.
40,000. I should have done this in the first place. Alice Boys and Girls Club, 50,000. And Alice Municipal Memorial VFW Post, 7,500. That's pretty much
That
ended up
totals
to
600.
600,000.
Yeah.
I make a motion to accept the recommendation by the committee.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Before we do that, I'd like to read something from the auditors. Okay, each recipient is required to provide backup documentation to Ms. Moran. She will then review and approve the expenses in allowable expenses that are allowable to the project budget. Ms. Moran will submit a purchase order to distribute the funds by check to the recipients. The recipients will be required to submit the final receipt after purchase of all of county documentation or for county documentation. So in other words, you have to do your part, guys. We have to be transparent. We have to make sure that the money's well spent. I don't think we're going to be given a check right away. As your expenses come in, that's when we're gonna try to make sense of it.
So we consider different
But
funding
you do have
options.
a procedure, right?
Yes, sir.
That you're going to hand out.
Yes, we're not, this, I want to make it real clear to the nonprofits, this is not a cost reimbursement. So in other words, you don't have to spend your monies and then get reimbursed. What you do, for example, is if you're purchasing equipment or a vehicle or something, just give us the documentation and we'll cut you a check for that. And the check will be made out to the nonprofit and then they in turn will pay the vendor. Yes.
So anyway, there's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Yeah, I'd like to point out, Commissioner, that I will be meeting with each of the nonprofits to explain all of this to them. And also I will draft an agreement so that it can be reviewed and approved by the county commissioners. That will be an agreement between the nonprofit and the county that will spell out their budget and the responsibilities. And we'll have that agreement. So I will be meeting with them individually to finalize those agreements with the nonprofits and then bring it back to you all.
Okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes.
That lady had a-
Congratulations,
we had
guys.
a question, Gracie.
Yes, but Ms. Moran answered it, because I was with Salvation Army, it's like daily that we make expenditures. Like
Yes.
they need their light bill, they need their water bill, it's done. I can't say, I'm gonna have to give you every time I get an
Yeah.
expenditure.
No, so basically you take, there's an application process. And once you determine those that you're going to assist, whether, I believe you had food assistance and utility assistance. Once you take those applications up and you determine how many through your budget that we're going to work out for you, you determine, okay, we said we were going to service 20, here's our applications, these are the ones we served. We need $10,000, give it to me. The county auditor knows that we're going to work really fast to get you those checks.
Because a lot of them come with disconnect notice, like the
Yes.
next day, and I have to go to the City of Dallas and pay it right there.
Yes.
'Cause they
We will
disconnect.
work with y'all on that. We discussed that. It's just a procedure we already have. But as long as, once she gets it, the judge signs it, they give it to the auditor's office. we'll get it to you, because I understand that. But we'll get it to you, and we'll have a balance that you're going by until you use up all your money. But we just want to have more of an accountability, be able to tell everybody how we spend our money on each different nonprofit.
And it will be easy for me to find you because it have.
It will be through me. Yes.
She's the one. She's our
You will
contact.
coordinate with me, and I will get those purchase orders prepared and make sure that they get to the judge and to the county auditors in time.
This is the same process we have with the other Jimos County ARPA money. It's the same process.
And I will set up a meeting with the nonprofits to address any other questions that you may have on this. We will be having another meeting with those that were awarded. The other thing I'd like to point out is we need to consider the term of the contract, the term that they will have to spend those funds. We could do a 1 year, or we can do till the end of what ARPA contract. We have until December of 2026 to
I think that
spend our
would work. I
monies.
think The ARPA contract, as long as they don't, they meet the deadline, because, you don't want to.
Wait till the last minute to be closing out our contract. Yes, sir.
Anyway,
okay.
I'd also like to thank the auditors. They play a great role.
Very important role.
And our county attorney, he makes
Yes, sir.
everything legal and makes sure that everything's transparent, and that, and what we're doing is, it's legal. So, thank you for you guys.
Again, we want to thank the committee for all their hard work. We're going on their recommendation and all the criteria
I
that
think
they
I think
went
Nora grew a little bit of gray hair, right?
So Garcia, I'd like to thank Ms. Yolanda Moran for, spearheading the whole thing here with the nonprofits. And of course, also his dedication to Jimos County and the auditor's office also working hand in hand with Ms. Moran. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
I think
Thank
the
you.
Commissioners Court is really proud of all the nonprofit organizations and everybody that was involved. And so thank you all very much.
It was very difficult. I know you all had a very, very difficult job. I was just there to guide you.
Actually, I'm glad we did it, and we got it done, and we move forward. So thank
You're
you.
going to provide an economic recovery for these nonprofits that weren't able to raise any funds during.
I know other counties weren't as generous. Everybody, most counties and cities, they received the ARPA funds, but they were not as generous as Jimos County. So, they had the opportunity, but they
Yes, sir.
didn't pull the trigger, and we did.
Yeah. Okay.
Bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we go to, okay, everybody gonna stay? I thought some of you would go and celebrate.
Sounded like an invitation. Thank y'all very much.
So y'all have a good day.
Okay, I sure appreciate you guys. I knew some of you had places to go and people to see. Yeah. We'll take a 5-minute recess. Well, we don't, we just stay until everybody leaves. I kind of figured that. other one got, so that's a total of 30.
I just don't see this one right here, but. Yes, I will.
Okay. Okay, everybody left us already? Okay. Okay, and item number 5, discuss, consider, take action to open competitive seal bids and take any necessary action to award bids to supply the county of JWC with road service and materials as described in the invitation to bid to be used in the American Rescue Plan Act fund project. I think, are these competitive bids?
Yes, sir, Commissioner. If you recall, we put out an invitation to bid. We advertised it for the 14 days. We did not receive any bids. At the time, we brought it back to Commissioners Court for direction on whether or not to go out and do the rebidding process. I prepared the bidders list. You should have a copy of this list that I used. This is a list.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yes, I saw that, but we only got 3. We only got 3.
And we received 3.
So we're gonna open
Yes.
the 3 bids.
So you can keep that, and that's for your purposes to use next time. These vendors provide materials in road surfacing, concrete paving, and if you need to go out for any bids, you now have a bidders list that you can
Where's that
use.
list at?
Get a nice-
No, no traigo. No voy a traer navaja.
Oh, there it is.
Barrio.
Okay, here you go. You want to open it?
Empieza la-
If not, I will email you all the list.
Okay, good.
So
Can we get a packet?
it was part of your agenda
Oh,
attachment,
there they are. Who was this?
and it has a list of,
don't have it.
you didn't get an agenda
No, ma'am.
attachment? Okay, I will email it to y'all. I prepared this so that you all can use it when you do some of your procurements.
You have the envelope with
These
it?
are excellent companies, and I talked to them, so you now have a directory that you can use.
Thank you.
Cleveland Asphalt. Hey, Cleveland Asphalt,
From Sherman, Texas.
Sherman, Texas. They're gonna have to see what they got.
Cleveland Asphalt.
Cleveland Asphalt. They got 3 copies. They don't have a price. Okay. Okay. On these, since they're all competitive, could we
Yes,
open them and then have a committee review them?
yes, sir.
That would probably be, because
Yeah, I would recommend,
Yeah.
that way I can provide a list and I'll prepare
It's
what their
kinda difficult
amounts.
to determine,
Yeah,
you know, the differences.
yes. Yeah, that'll give me an opportunity to review them and prepare you a spreadsheet that you can use to
Yeah, so
compare
we
the
can
prices
compare.
and things
So
like that.
It's gonna be, it'll take us all day to try to.
Yes, sir. I would, yeah, that's a great idea. But, yeah, go ahead and open them and then, well, I think we can do that.
Okay, so we'll just leave it. Let me open this one.
The other one was from Asphalt Road Surfacing Materials.
Okay, asphalt, we got one from, Colorado Materials Inc.
Colorado. From San Marcos. I was reading
It's,
about it.
Colorado Materials Incorporated.
I believe they have a plant nearby as well.
Marcos. Is this,
San Marcos.
is this it?
Yeah, but I think they have a sand plant or something maybe nearby. It should be on your directory. I kind of put some notes on there on who they are and what they provide on your spreadsheet.
Okay, they had 2 copies, and who was this from? Who is this from?
Vulcan Material Company.
Okay, this is a Welcome Material Company. This is the ones that we've been buying from. Anyway, we're gonna review them back and compare.
Where are they all from?
They're from different areas on the spreadsheet. Let me see.
One was from Sherman, Texas.
But some of them have plants nearby.
Okay, because I like to just say that we have a lot of trouble trying to get material
Who's
from
this
Vulcan.
one?
Okay.
And my opinion is that they're not willing to listen to you when you call for 2, 3 truckloads or 10, 5 truckloads. They want big boys, you know, textile and all that, but it's, so yesterday I discussed with Joe Science, I said, look, whenever you're gonna order material like that, let us know so we can all get together and all of us order
A bigger
a huge
order.
amount, and maybe they'll pay more attention to us, wherever it is that we use, but
You
we
can-
consider that.
You can definitely consider ordering in bulk, get your orders together and ordering in bulk and delivery.
Because we're waiting 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks,
And
and it's gonna get worse during summer.
so once the committee
Here's a,
awards the contract, it is a 1-year contract that we advertise for. We can certainly have a meeting with the vendor that's awarded the contract, and it'll spell out all the terms and conditions. I'll work with our county attorney to assist us in that, but definitely address some of those concerns with whoever the vendor is that you
Be a big
decide.
part of it.
So if you decide to table this, I can put a spreadsheet together, and then if y'all want to meet again and review them on.
okay, well, we can make a motion to to review and bring it up, or we can table it, but
So y'all can
Is it-
review it.
to accept the bids and for review by a committee or whatever. Would be the,
So
Mr. Guerra there.
I think we have our county attorney that might help us on that.
Sierra?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you wouldn't be accepting the bids or just turning them over to the scoring committee. You may want to, who is going to designate the members of the committee? Are you going to do it today, or are you going to designate someone to appoint those members? And then I would recommend tabling it for today for no action today until May the 8th, until we get the committee to recommend. So really, the only issue today would be a motion to table and then designate who the committee members will be or who will appoint the committee members.
Do we make the motion with appointing the committee?
we have to accept the bids for sure, and then,
Well, when you say that, are you saying we can't accept all the bids? We're gonna,
so the ones that came in,
right, but when you say accept, it makes it sound like we are obligating ourselves.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're only gonna accept one, correct? Is that right, Ms. Moran?
Yes, sir. We're going to award one contract.
yeah, we're gonna accept and, you know, so we can award one of them, you know, but whatever, however you want to do it, you know, it really.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I think it's just, yeah, I understand now what you're saying. You're accepting the bids, but you're not awarding the contract yet. You're accepting the bids to turn over to the committee, and then we'll come back on the 8th and actually award one contract to one vendor, right?
Want to make a motion, Margie?
I'm gonna make a motion, we open the bids and we're gonna set a committee to review the 3 the 3 bids. And then we'll come back with the recommendation from the committee.
Okay, and the committee will be composed or determined by who?
Well, we usually have 4 people.
May I make a recommendation,
You
sir?
know, it's an ARPA,
Yeah, these are ARPA funds, but I'd like to make a recommendation that the commissioners consider appointing someone from their, if they can, from their
one?
precinct that understands these types of bids, because, I mean, I'll have to admit, this is kind of new.
Excuse me.
Like your foremans, or someone that understands how to read these,
And Yolanda, we should include.
and I will
Yolanda
be there to
and-
guide them and,
Guide them and then the foremans. Renee, what do you think?
yeah,
Mr. Garcia?
yeah, I think so. I think foremans would be
sir.
excellent.
The foreman.
Okay.
And then
So
Yolanda.
each commissioner will designate, and some of you have more than one foreman, but each commissioner will designate
It'll
who
be
they
just-
want. That's 4, and then Yolanda will be number 5 on the committee, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we come back May the 8th.
Do we need to give names out right now?
No, just submit them to, we know that they're gonna be foremans of the R&B departments of the respective commissioners. Just, Yolanda, do you need an email or something, or how do you want them to designate?
I will reach out to each commissioner and ask them to send me the names and contact information on them so that I can meet with them and set a date to review the bids. And also I'll have time to prepare a spreadsheet that will help them make those decisions on scoring.
Well, just
Mr. Guerra,
just for
that's
the
not the item on
record,
the agenda, but do we have to make a motion on that?
Well, you're tabling it today. You're not, the item on the agenda was to, it looks like to award the contract, which we can't do today because we have, a couple of bidders that probably need to be vetted and screened by the committee. So, yeah, and of course, we can't move forward until we know who's on the committee. So go ahead, Margie, if you want to add that to your motion, and then we'll come back on the 8th.
just for the record, because I know my foreman is gonna be Mario Moreno, so we can put it on.
Yeah, okay. Mario Moreno, Juan Vasquez.
Juan Ochoa.
David Ruiz.
Okay, there you've got the 4 names plus Ms. Moran. So the committee membership is determined, and
We meet maybe next Tuesday at 10.
Did you say we, Margie? If y'all are gonna be there, you gotta be,
Let the committee,
okay, well, you said we, and you gotta be careful, because if.
Yeah, I had to think about that.
let the
Yeah.
committee meet
Is
Tuesday at
Tuesday a
10.
good day for you?
I don't
Because
have
I
my
know-
phone to schedule.
Because I know Wednesday and Thursday, our foremen, well, my foreman will be going to the hurricane conference.
Okay, yeah, I'll get with him and schedule a time, and that'll give me time to prepare the,
Tuesday works for us because he picks up payroll at
Yes.
around, 10 o'clock.
yeah,
9
we need to
o'clock.
meet with plenty of time to be able to get this back to the
But we
next
can
commissioners
schedule the
court
Time
meeting.
and place, yeah.
For ne-
You
Because the
already,
next
you
one will
already
be
know
May
the
the
names.
8th.
Next one's May 8th, so we'll have to meet before then and get everything ready for you all,
Okay.
your
That's-
consideration.
That sounds good to me.
I make the motion.
There's Renee, you want a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moran.
Thank you.
Tuesday?
Well, she's gonna let us know.
Renee-
Okay.
Renee, your guy is Juan what? Joa. Yours is Juan Vasquez.
Oh, no,
Juan Vasquez, yeah. Yeah.
let's go.
Okay. Next item.
Okay, line item number 6, discuss, consider, hear presentation from the Water Finance Exchange on who they are and how they assist rural communities. Okay, Margie, you know anything about this one?
Well, he was supposed to be here. I don't know. We can skip it and maybe he's.
Yeah, I think, there's nobody representing this line item, so we'll,
Skip it and come back maybe, I don't know.
well, we'll,
The memo that it's at
we'll have no action on it. Well, we'll skip it till, maybe they'll show up later in the, we'll come back to it. If they're not here, we'll table it or do something with it. Okay. Okay, then line item number 7 is discuss, consider, take action on a resolution to be presented by the Water Finance Exchange to be adopted by Jim Wells County. We'll come back to that one also. See if somebody shows up. Okay, line item number 8, discuss, consider and take action to approve a memorandum of understanding for mutual aid assistance by and between Jim Wells County and Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get any money today. I work for a nonprofit too. Does this happen every Friday? I mean, word money out. I mean, that's pretty nice.
Thank you.
I'm the executive director for Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group. How many of you guys have heard of us? No, one of you has.
Yes.
I hope so.
Yes.
We're a nonprofit. We cover the 11 counties of the Coastal Bend, and we are the long-term recovery group for the Coastal Bend. We started in 2015 with the flood in Jim Wells and Nueces County. Then just as we were starting to wrap that recovery, Hurricane Harvey hit. And then during Hurricane Harvey, of course, we had the winter freeze, which we responded to as well. And so we've had 3 disasters in 8 years now already. So, so our mission is to strengthen regional long-term recovery by addressing and jointly resolving unmet disaster-related needs of individuals in the community of the Coastal Bend. We focus mostly on the vulnerable population, those that lack the resources to recover from federally declared disasters on their own. An unmet need is a basic need that is addressed safe, sanitary, secure needs of the clients. So what I always like to say is, we're going to help somebody with their roof, but we're not going to give them, marble countertops or something like that. We're just going to try to get them back into their home, back in the community, and living in a safe, sanitary, and secure condition. So our clients are the vulnerable population, which is low income, seniors, veterans, single parents, and people with disability. When we activate is when there's a federally declared disaster and individual assistance is approved by FEMA. Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group, we have multiple divisions. We have case management, which is essential in long-term recovery. It starts with case management and ends with case management. We also do construction. We also have donations and volunteer management. We do financing and fundraising, public relations, spiritual and emotional care, and our unmet needs. Our unmet needs roundtable is where other agencies, nonprofits, or can get together, usually national VOADs, can get together and hear cases where case managers will present a case of somebody who has an unmet need, and then the funders can get together and discuss how they can help address that need. When you have something as serious as a hurricane, tornadoes, the cost of helping somebody recover is enormous. So it usually takes more than one nonprofit to help. So I like to give the example, like the food bank might provide food for the client, Salvation Army might provide some basics of clothing, beds. Mennonites Disaster Services might provide the labor to help with the physical reconstruction. Somebody else might provide the funding, somebody else might provide the materials. So all these groups get together and cooperate and coordinate with that person's care. And that's one of the things that I think is that we offer that is probably one of the most important. I'm very proud that in this area, all these agencies cooperate together. When you go outside of this area, you hear horror stories of people competing and not working together. But since I've been with Coastal Bend, we've had nothing but great partners in this area. And I think it's something that the community should be proud of. For the winter storm, we helped restore 131 homes, which was 323 people, basic water services. We had 740 hours of volunteer plumber hours that came from MDS, and they came in and they helped these people. And these people's pipes had burst, and so they had shut their own water off because their house was basically flooding. We received $85,000 in construction repairs from a donation. 27% of the households that we helped were single and elderly, and 41% of the households had someone with a disability. Typically, these houses were in rural settings where even if they could afford a plumber, they wouldn't have access because the plumbers were all busy in the big cities. They didn't even have to leave city limits to get enough work. So it was essential that we were able to help these people. If you look at the what we did with Hurricane Harvey, we were able to provide the community with $50.9 million in total resources to our clients. 25 million of that was through case management. Now, the majority of that was our case managers helping people that would not have been able to get a general land office house on their own, because there's a lot involved to go through that process. So we help case manage them, get them through the process, and get them a general land office home. CBDRG spent $9.2 million in construction. We managed $4.1 million in construction that was paid for by another agency, but they wouldn't have been able to do the construction because they lacked the staff to oversee the construction. And so we oversaw the construction for those agencies. We had 3.4 million in volunteer labor hours, which is almost 180,000 volunteer hours. And then we had additional 8.9 million in our unmet needs roundtable, and that's how we get to the 50.9 million. Through Coastal Bend, and we were able to provide 422 families with brand new homes. 81 of those homes were actually built by CBDRG. 79 manufactured homes were replaced by CBDRG. 145 of our clients received general land office homes. 68 manufactured homes were replaced through our unmet needs roundtable. And also through our unmet needs roundtable, 43 homes were rebuilt. And then our case manager was able to get 6 new homes from other agencies outside of the unmet needs. Now, it's important to note that when we, as a long-term recovery, resiliency is essential to us. So when we're rebuilding a house, we make sure that it meets current standards of TWIA standards so that it can actually withstand winds of up to 143 miles an hour. All of our manufactured homes are Wind Zone 2 certified so that they can get insurance. Our hope is and then also all of our roof replacements also meet TWIA certifications so that these clients actually are able to go out and buy insurance on their own. So what we're doing is we are trying to formalize our relationships with the different counties. There's been a change in FEMA where the FEMA lists no longer go directly to us. They actually go to the counties, and then the counties give them to us. And so in the event of a disaster, we would go to the county and say that we would like the FEMA list. And what we do with that is we start calling those people who applied for FEMA and seeing if they need our assistance. And also we also help with a mechanism so that if there's a disaster in Jim Wells County, there's actually we use the Coastal Bend Community Foundation. Are you guys familiar with them? They're a nonprofit that also helps with donations, and so it's part of what we did. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I don't think so. Other than it doesn't cost the county anything. It's long-term recovery, which that's the part that none of us like to do. We like the response. We don't like the long-term. He's the one that's gonna be here for people that don't want help, that are used to doing stuff by themselves. Him and I, we've met a couple of times. Miss Margie, I think sits on the board of this.
Yes.
This is a great program, so I highly recommend it.
Yeah, you've been on our board since the beginning almost, right? Yeah. Did you guys have any questions about our organization?
Presentation at the fairgrounds about a month ago, right?
Yes, correct.
I
Yes.
was there, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Very-
LEDC, yeah.
Very impressive. Thank you. No, if there's no questions, I'd like to make a motion to accept the item as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. We do have a memorandum to read, right?
Yes, the judge has it in the email. We all have it in the email.
Yeah. So we're not gonna read the terms and everything, we can read the.
Recital. So it's, whereas the county's geographical location bordering the Gulf of Mexico makes it susceptible to hurricanes and other natural hazards, whereas the parties recognize the vulnerability of the people and communities located within the county's territorial limits to damage, injury, and loss of life and property resulting from disasters, and recognize that disasters may present response requirements beyond the capacity of the county. Whereas the county's Commissioner Court desires to secure the benefits of aid and assistance in the event of a disaster. Whereas the county is authorized to plan for and respond to disasters in accordance with state law, including without limitation, the Texas Disaster Act of 1975 as amended, which is codified as Chapter 418 of the Texas Government Code. Whereas the parties wish to make suitable arrangements for the provisions of aid and assistance to the county in coping with and responding to disasters, and recognize that a memo of understanding will allow for better coordination of disaster response efforts and will help ensure that aid and assistance is accomplished in the minimum time possible. And whereas the parties wish to enter into this memo of understanding to provide a pre-existing framework for collaboration and cooperation among the parties in responding to declared disasters in Jimos County, and which memo of understanding is intended to protect and is in the interest of public health and safety.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay,
We can go back to 6.
Line item number 6, discuss, consider here presentation from the Water Finance Exchange on who they are and how they assist rural areas. Thank you.
Thank you. State your name.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm Rogelio Rodriguez with the Water Finance Exchange. First of all, let me apologize. For some reason, I had it in my head this was at 10, and I thought I was going to be early. I apologize for that.
The meeting's at 10.
We
That's-
just
Oh, is that
changed
what?
it.
Oh, I was probably looking at other agendas thinking, oh, 10 o'clock, okay. Apologize for that. But I'm with the Water Finance Exchange, and we are a 501c3 not-for-profit philanthropic entity. And we believe that communities all over the country could really realize good water infrastructure if they just had some technical assistance, some financial and operational help. So the philanthropies that fund us to do this work believe that that part of it, that technical assistance is what it's called, is integral to being able to get communities all the money that we hear out there, right? We hear about the IIJA, the EPA has money, the state has money, USDA has money, Bureau of Reclamation has money, but how does that funding come all the way from up here down to communities? So as you can imagine, it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of capital planning, it takes a lot of financial analysis because it has to be affordable. And so we work with communities to bring those skills and that technical assistance to communities all over the United States. I'm a finance person. I've worked in finance for over 25 years. I worked for JP Morgan, Frost Bank, local investment banks. I did public finance for 25 years. I've worked in this area for most of that time. A lot of Corpus Christi, a lot of Clayburgh, Nueces County. I think I was probably on an Alice ISD transaction, in my past. And we have another large set of individuals that have spent a lot of time and have a lot of experience in working with water infrastructure. I'm going to go through this quick presentation if you don't mind, and you'll see a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So on the first page, or on the page number 3, so why do we do this, right? We know that there are a lot of water systems out there that are failing, that need help, and we know that there are a lot of people out there that do not have connections to water, good, clean, safe, reliable water. So the issue is there are a lot of different water suppliers all over the country. And we call that kind of defragmented, right? You have a water system here that maybe serves 50 people. You have a water system here that serves 25. You have a county that's responsible for everybody, right? How do we help bridge all of that together with funding and good ideas, good operations, and affordably, right? We believe in creating and building resilient, sustainable water systems, but to us, affordability is part of that sustainable, right? If it's not affordable, it's not sustainable. So we help to get all those needs together, organize them, and put them in a capital plan. And that capital plan is what you would use going forward, right? So we put together, we use our experts to put together and think about what your community needs, talk to your community. That's why I wanted to be here today, because I believe what's important is being down in the community, learning from you, learning what you need, learning what your citizens need, learning what makes sense for you. A lot of times, a lot of people who do these projects want to say, okay, we're going to take a project that we did in San Antonio and just make it smaller for Jim Wells. Well, that's not really what you need, right? You have more specific what your residents are trying to accomplish, what you want to accomplish, as well as taking advantage of economic development, right? Building healthy communities. And so all of that is what we consider when we work with you. All these plans come from you. We don't sell anything. We're not engineers. We're not trying to get hired as engineers. We don't have technology. We don't sell anything. In fact, part of our philanthropic endeavor is we don't charge communities for the work that we do. We get our funding from philanthropy to do this work. And you can see on the back, page the philanthropies that have funded us so far. And because we all believe that all it takes is some good technical assistance to get a lot of these projects off the ground. A lot of times communities just don't have the administrative capacity to go after all of this funding that is out there, right? It's all this funding everybody says is out there, but a lot of times communities just don't have the time or the people to really pursue, fill out all the paperwork, and get things done in a timely manner. So page 3 kind of lays out what we see as the bigger problems, right? Why we were created and why philanthropy is funding us. Page 4 just kind of describes that bigger problem in a little more detail. There are 16,000 wastewater treatment plants functioning on average 81% of their design capacity, right? So all these factors are what's deep in communities that the federal government, the state government are trying to address with all of the funding that's out there. If you recall, the federal government says for communities like yours, 50% of that funding, it's really 49% of that funding should be in grants because they know there's a need. But how do you connect that need with day-to-day activity and your administrative capacity to be able to do those things and be able to go after those applications and describe what you need in a compelling way? There were 132 applications for $3.2 billion worth of drinking water funds from the state this past February. There's only about $700 million. There was 263 applications for $3.6 billion for wastewater funding, and there's only probably $500 million. So as you can see, part of what we do too is we spend a lot of time on these applications. How do we make communities competitive? How do we tell your story? And all of that comes from us being down in the community, listening to you, trying to figure out how that funding can best fit your needs. And so the first thing we'll do is we'll spend time here and we'll talk to community members, we'll talk to you, and we'll figure out what is your vision for your community, for those 2 water systems, for Jim Wells in general. What is your vision? And then what are those projects that would fulfill that vision? And then we'll put those projects in a capital plan, and over 3, 4, 5 years, depending on, how long it's going to take and how much funding is out there, we will fulfill that capital plan with you, taking advantage of as much grant money as we can, as much low interest loan money as we can, not just state and federal programs, but because you're Coastal Bend, there's a lot of Coastal Bend programs that are specifically for you. There's a lot of parks programs, National Wildlife Federation, Bureau of Reclamation, all those funding opportunities that are out there that come out, and there's more that come out all the time. So we'll assign those capital needs with possible funding. And so page 5 just kind of tells you who we are. We're organized as a 501c3, as I said. We're not for profit. We're not here to send you a bill. We're not here to hire an engineer or anybody like that. We are here just to give you some technical assistance and help be part of your administrative staff to fulfill these projects. On page 6, we talked about affordability being a big part of this. So we have a lot of financial tools. As I said, I'm a finance guy and have been a finance guy for 25 plus years. And so we have a lot of financial tools. Once we talk to you and we have an idea of what you want to accomplish and what you want your water systems to look like, what you want that infrastructure to look like, where you want to connect, then as part of that capital plan, we'll also tell you what it costs every year. You'll be very clear, because we believe in transparency. We believe that in order for you to make decisions, you have to know all the details. And of course, cost is a huge detail. We'll also put it in terms of disadvantaged communities. What is it going to cost a resident, not only in okay, this is my monthly water bill, but as a measure of their affordability. And in this graph here on the right, you'll see the chart number 6. That dotted line is what the EPA says is a standard measure for affordability. If your water bill is more than 4.5% of your take-home pay, then you're paying too much. The state of Texas puts you in a competitive affordability points, assigns you competitive points if your water bill is 2.51% above a person's take-home pay. So we'll take all of those things into consideration and give you a very detailed plan of how things are of how you can pursue projects through time, because we want to make sure that, number one, we take advantage of all the money that's out there, and number two, that it's affordable. But of course, the overall thing is it has to meet your needs, and it has to be what the county wants to accomplish. On page 7, we talk about, this is kind of where we're doing work all over the country. And you'll see, I think really the important ones are the orange dots and the green dots. That's where we are either looking at projects, because as you can imagine, being a philanthropy, we get a lot of work, right? We get a lot of communities that want to work with us. Our state, we have relationships with the state of Texas, and they sent us about 150 some odd communities that want to work with us. So part of what we do, and this is why we're here today, is we have realized that what makes this successful is not only us being motivated, but also the community being motivated. And that's why we asked for the resolution and the MOU, because it's a sign to us that, hey, there's buy-in. We do want this. We do want some help. We do want to work with you. We do want to utilize your skills. And so that's what the resolution and MOU basically say. I'm sure you've read them, but they basically say that, hey, you're motivated to do these things. You're motivated to serve your community. You believe water is important, and you want to work with people like the Water Finance Exchange to help bring solutions. On the next page, page 8, is where we are in Texas. And I will tell you, we're involved in a lot of things, right? Advocacy on the legislative level is an important one to us, because what we're finding is, in working with communities like yours, sometimes the rules and the points and the application doesn't really match up with what communities are trying to do. So we often hold workshops, and we invite legislators, we invite funders, both on the federal and state level, to come listen to you and talk to you. So you can say, you know, we tried to do this for our community, but for some reason we didn't get funding. I sure would like some rule or law or perception to change, because this is what's real in communities, and this is what's happening. And so we have workshops to bring funders and communities together so we can have those discussions. Those are the red dots. We also believe in exactly what you're doing, regional collaborations, right? Getting these water supply systems that need help and saying, hey, why don't we as the county step up and be like a big brother to these water supply systems, and in this case, using the freshwater supply district, and say, look, guys, instead of you trying to go on your own, let us step up and try to help you figure this out. And it makes total sense, because as the county, you have up-to-date audits, you have up-to-date financials, you can talk to the Water Development Board, you can get involved, and you have a lot more ability to seek grant funding and to seek overall funding for these projects. So the blue are the regional collaborations that we're working on in the state. We're working with 3 regional collaborations that encompasses 21 total different cities or unincorporated areas in the state. And then other communities that we're talking to, and we get a lot of referrals from TCEQ, Texas Water Development Board, the municipal advisor community, engineers that see communities that could just use a little bit of help, a little bit of administrative capacity. And so we are called often into communities through those referrals. So let me highlight for you the team real quick. So Hank Habik is the co-founder of the Water Finance Exchange. He was administrative deputy. He was a deputy administrator for the EPA, and he was also an attorney for the Department of Justice for EPA, appointed by the first President Bush. Brent Fuel was general counsel to the EPA, and he was appointed by the second Bush administration. I told you I was finance guy for 25 years. Carlos Rubenstein used to chair, he was a commissioner at TCEQ. He was also the chairperson at the Water Development Board. Buzz Pishker, he was a water operator, and if I tell you he's operated water systems for 40 years, I'm probably shorting him 10 years. He's a senior operator. He most recently ran the City of Arlington water system, and now he is an interim operator for the City of Amarillo water system, but he's run both public and private water systems. Josh Clement is to call him a grant writer is just not giving him enough credit. So he'll look at different projects and he'll say, this is what Jim Wells County wants to do. Let's match funding to that. Where are those funding opportunities out there that can give you low cost funding, cheap funding? Where are the grants? So he spends his time doing that. Brian Oakley is a vice president with JLL, Jones Lang LaSalle. If we get into a complicated, and him and the other Brian, we call him Brian and Brian. If we get into a complicated issue, they have run the WIFIA program, the Water Infrastructure Finance Investment Act money for the federal government. So they understand how to wade through very complicated issues and try to get that federal funding. We also have an advisory council on the bottom right. Some of the names I've already mentioned, but these are other people that contribute to trying to figure out solutions. What are the best solutions? What are the most affordable solutions? And how do we get this funding? And on the last page really just talks about what we practically do, right? And what's the benefit of us getting involved? So we add administrative capacity, both in operations, funding, regulations, and finance. We very much focus on capital planning, right? If you don't have a plan, if you're reacting to things, then things become more and more expensive. We believe in being proactive, creating a plan. Of course, it's going to change. Things change, but at least if we have a path forward, we know when we're going to go after funding. We know where that funding should come from. And we have a very good idea of when priorities and projects will be addressed and in what time frame. We can also assist with, we also do make sure the financial assessment, I talked about that earlier, make sure your rates are transparent, make sure the capacity, what you can do, how much you can do, it's all very transparent to you so you can make decisions. We also assist with procurement. That's the other part of it, right? Federal programs, state programs, there's a lot of these little things that, are you following Davis-Bacon wages? How did you bid out that engineer? Did you follow hub rules? There's a lot of little intricate parts that could disqualify funding or just tie it up. If they're not done correctly. So we help with that process as well. We also have funding, right? So we call it pre-development funding. So we have money for what we call catalytic tasks. And I'll give you an example of what that is. We're working with a community right now. They're 2 years behind in their audits. Well, they're not going to get funding, right? The state of Texas, the federal government, everybody's going to say, look, you need your audits before we'll consider you. We're funding a temporary employee to go work in the office of finance to help deliver documents, provide things for the auditor that they may need. Another one is we're working with another community who's putting together a master plan, actually right down the street, who's putting together a master plan because they have great opportunities for economic development, right? A big lithium battery refinery has moved in there. It's the first commercial connection they're going to serve since 1976 when they were created. So they're putting together that master plan. Well, to us, that master plan is a great document that kind of lays out what do they got to do to take advantage of economic development, but to make sure their residents are served well. So we're funding that master plan. So we do have money to fund tasks that are important and that make a difference. All we ask is that if we fund, let's say a master plan that, I don't know, make up a number, it costs 50 grand. All we ask is that when you get funding, you just pay us back. So to you, it's net zero, but we think those catalytic tasks are sometimes very important in order to get to that next step. We look at all different funding opportunities. These are just kind of an example of them, and they change all the time. There's more that are added. We also elevate your visibility, right? As you saw, we have people there that have been water operators for many years, people that were Carlos was chair of the Water Development Board. We elevate your projects. We have discussions with the Water Development Board. We have discussions with EPA and the Bureau of Reclamation and whoever is out there that has funding to talk about your specific project. And how can you elevate your ability, your competitive edge to get that money? And sometimes projects will change a little bit here and there to attract better funding, but all those decisions are yours. And of course, operational analysis, I said we have Buzz. Buzz is great at saying, okay, I can look at things, I can tell you where things could be more efficient, where you can save some money, where you can lower rates, where you can get better supplies. And so we have Buzz who also does an operational overview. Since you saw where we are in the country, we're in a lot of different communities. So we have a good sense of models that are working out there, and we'll apply some of those models where appropriate to you. So we have a good sense of good perspective of what's worked and what hasn't worked. And so we can we will bring that to your planning. And of course, collaborations, right? We have a great partnership with the Coastal Bend Council of Governments. I just heard a great presentation regarding housing. We collaborate with everybody that's already here because we want to know what your future vision is, and we want to accomplish that vision. And if we're doing something separate and other philanthropic organizations are doing separate things, then how does all that tie together, right? And so we want to talk to them. And so we're very close to the Coastal Bend Council of Governments, Maria Fuso. We get a sense of what's going on in the counties. We want to collaborate with other philanthropic organizations like Communities Unlimited, Texas Rural Water, who can help and also bring support to your community to get these projects done. And so that is my presentation. I've also included a couple of articles. One is regional water solutions in there, because I said that's something we believe in. We believe that in order for things to be cheaper, if you have a bigger footprint and more connections, then you can do more things and it's more affordable to your community. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Can you break it down for me and so I can understand a little bit better? So you're a 501c nonprofit.
Yes, sir.
So basically what you guys are gonna go do is find us financing to be able to help us pay for the water improvements?
That's part of it.
So is it basically like us going for a grant?
That's part of it.
Provider, like a-
Yeah, so we do more than that. We help organize the whole, we help organize everything you need, right? So we'll talk to community members, we'll talk to Mr. Flores of the freshwater, so we'll talk to you and kind of get a vision of what are the things you want to do, right? We'll even make suggestions. We'll say, well, if you did a pipe here or you did something different there, it'd be cheaper. If you got your water from here, right? We'll even make suggestions. So we focus on that capital plan first, because we want to make sure that it's a good, resilient, sustainable system. And then we'll put that capital plan into funding buckets. Water Development Board, State of Texas, EPA, Bureau of Reclamation. So it's really kind of a holistic kind of project management approach of your needs and your water
So
infrastructure.
would it be like, let's say you go look at a project for, and say, you would say it would cost, 150,000.
Mhm.
You help us just get that funding.
Yes,
Instead of saying, we got a $500,000 grant here, and here we come back and it comes in here, this is where I get the cake. Well, how much is it gonna cost us? Well, 500,000. I always go, man, how do these guys know how much it's gonna cost before?
oh, no, I mean, you,
That's what I'm trying to
yeah,
get
yeah,
to.
we're not engineers. I don't know what
So
it
that's what I'm
costs.
saying. So
Yeah.
you give us a cost analysis of what it's gonna cost us and say, okay, I can get you the funding for this? Is that basically how it works?
I mean, we can, but we're not engineers, right? I don't know what a pipe cost, right? I don't know what the infrastructure you want to build costs, but we certainly look at that and we opine on, wow, that seems expensive. So once that design is all put together to your liking, to what you believe your vision is, then we will go find the funding, right? It's not, I mean, it's, yeah, right? It's like, it cost us, I don't know, make up a number. It's going to cost us, I don't know, $8 million to do everything. Okay, well, now it's up to us to find that $8 million, right? But what we'll do though, is we'll break it down and we'll say, well, how much is for pipe? 2 million for pipe. Well, that's probably SRF because you get 49% grant. That's probably the cheapest way to go there. What else are you building? Well, we want to build a little reuse system for the local park. Oh, okay, well, that's probably EPA and that's probably, I don't know, $250,000, whatever the number says, right? So it's really up to you guys and what you design. And then we help put an affordability component to it. We help capital plan it. We help, because you probably can't do everything you want to do all in 1 year. It'd be very expensive. So the way we will say, okay, what are your priorities, right? What do you want to do first? And then second and third. And then we'll spread that out. I'll show you, we'll spread that out over several years and say, okay, if you want your rates to stay X, then you have to do this over, let's call it a 5-year period. So now we know every year this is what we're going to go after. These are the funding things we're going to go after to pay for the design that you guys wanted to do.
Any other questions? You do have a resolution here that we'll
That will be
read here
the
now.
next one.
On the next one, it probably explains
So
some
this
of
was
it.
just a presentation, right? That we don't need
Yeah,
to.
yeah, this one right here, just a presentation. Okay, there's a resolution to this, discuss, okay.
Item number 7.
Okay, discuss, consider, and take action on a resolution to be presented by the Water Finance and to be adopted by Jim Wells County. We'll read the resolution and it probably gives us an idea of what they're about.
We don't have to read them, no?
Well, this one you have.
It's online.
Whereas water is vital to all aspects of life, and whereas one of our central tasks as Jim Wells County, Texas, is to ensure a healthy community with access for our citizens to this vital resource, and whereas communities and our environment depend on clean water and effective wastewater services, and whereas one of the best ways to ensure this access and service for our community is to incorporate good management practices and resiliency into our existing and future water and wastewater systems. And whereas collaborating with diverse experts in operations, regulations, and finance can provide value in planning, and whereas water is a primary limiting factor to sustainable economic growth and community development, and whereas operations, data gathering, testing, and water infrastructure can be combined to form a sound approach to sustained economic growth and job creation. Whereas we are aware that the billions of dollars currently available for water and wastewater infrastructure under the Federal Infrastructure Investment and Job Act through the state revolving funds and other funding sources represent a historic and generational opportunity to access low-cost funding that may not soon return. Whereas we understand that the best chance of obtaining our fair share of this funding is to work together with collaborative partnerships. Whereas Jim Wells County is aware and participating with other regional utilities that may need their assistance or the assistance of a philanthropic partner in regional cooperation and collaboration can meet the many water and wastewater needs within our region. Whereas Jim Wells County will enjoy the expert services of Water Finance Exchange and other consultants at no cost therefore.
That's a resolution, guys. Do I have a motion to approve it?
I make a motion to accept the resolution from Water Finance Exchange.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. I see, you know.
All right, let's get to work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, line item number 9. Wow, we still got 20 to go. Discuss, consider and take action from the West Alice Youth Center. A contribution request of 25,000 to be used for implementation of drug prevention program for the children of Rancho Alegre.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is that time of year again, and so every year we come before you to ask for help with the summer program. And when I say summer program, it's actually not the summer. It starts in June and it runs all the way to the end of the year. This is our 17th year. I was a young man when I first started. I'm already 55. It's unbelievable.
Pretty young.
But basically what we do at the youth center, it's a drug prevention program. We daily talk to the kids about staying away from drugs because they live in the community and surrounds us on every street, it's just, it's kind of hard to live in Rancho Alegre and not be exposed to drugs on a daily basis. So we try to give the kids mentoring, a little bit of education, and most importantly, give them activities and things they can do in the summer to keep them off the streets. So we start the Monday following the day that school finishes. Usually it's the first week in June, and we run all the way up until 2 weeks before school starts back up again in August. And it's a daily program and it's free of charge. We don't charge for anything. Everything is paid by the youth center, all the trips, the food, snacks, movie nights, sleepovers, the swimming, everything is free. But it does, it does take money to fund. So we're asking for the same amount we ask for every year, 25,000. That's about half of what it takes to run the center for the entire year. But we've got other sources of income. And we kind of have been blessed. Things have gotten better for us after COVID, believe it or not, financially. So that sheet is basically a breakdown of everything we pay from June until the end of the year.
Well, we sure appreciate the work you do out there, Roman. We really do.
Thank you, Ventura.
Yes.
Today, we'll make a motion to accept your request.
Yes, sir.
And we'll review the expenses, and we'll have time, and at probably the last meeting of the month of May, we'll come up with a dollar amount.
Okay.
That the Commissioners Court, which would, I think there's enough monies to probably fund it, but we still have to review the.
Yes, sir.
request.
And just, I was here for the presentation on the nonprofits, and people asked me, why did you?
Right.
Well, there was about 4 groups here that I kind of got started. I did their paperwork, got them the nonprofit, got them the 501c3. To me, we have a steady stream of income. It just wasn't fair. It seemed like it was like greed on our part to jump in and take from what they really need, because we have a yearly amount we get every year. And so that's one of the reasons we kind of didn't apply for the ARPA. Just, we have enough to run. I didn't want to, Olga is one of the examples. I mean, kind of got her started, and I know what she does, and I'm glad that she got that money. So to me, it was just a little bit of overreach for us to go in there and try to get from them, just in case you guys had that question what you wanted to ask.
So Amanda, I'll entertain a motion to
I'll make a
accept the
motion to
request.
consider the request.
And I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And we'll try to have something on the last meeting of May. And
Well, we usually have enough money to get started.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're-
so you'll get funded by June 1st.
Yeah, we're good, we're good.
That would be
The plan.
that's a plan. I think that we follow that plan pretty
Yeah, we've been
much.
doing that for the last 7, 8 years.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mr.
Thanks,
Flank.
Margie. Thank you very much.
Okay, motion passes, okay. Line item 10, discuss, consider, take action on a contribution request of $20,000 from Boys and Girls Club of Alice on the Smart Moves Drug Prevention Program and volunteer background checks.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. Again, my name is Rick Del Bosque. I've been with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Alice for the last 35 years. I know Mr. Gonzalez talked about being there as a young boy, but when I started, I was 6 foot tall and jet black hair. So it happened through the years with the kiddos. But we come here today to present and ask for a request for $20,000 for our Smart Moves program. It's a drug prevention program. It's a program that's a nationally acclaimed and evidence-based program, and we've been running this program for the last 20 some odd years. It's a fantastic program, and we thank you for your continuous support and your previous support.
I don't know how you keep up with so many kids, especially when June comes around and, you get the pee-wee.
Oh, yes, no, it is a full house.
And I see a lot of cars every day at your facility, so, I sure appreciate all the hard work that you do.
Well, we appreciate that.
And I
make
think
a
we've funded you guys before, for the last few years.
Yes.
And the same thing applies, we'll accept your request and consider the funding at the last meeting of the month. So
All right.
With that, I'll
I'll make a
entertain.
motion to
I'll second.
accept the request of 20,000 for the Boys and Girls Club.
Thank,
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you so much.
thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, line item number 11, discuss, consider, take action on minutes from previous meetings.
I move to accept item number 11 is presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Line item 12, consent agenda items will be voted upon in one vote and will not be discussed separately unless requested by the county judge or commissioners.
Commissioners
I think
Court,
this is
I've gone
something
over
that you approved.
yes, I've looked over them, every one of them is vital, and it's okay, so
I make a motion to accept item number 12 is presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. You saved me a lot of work.
that's why we did it like that.
Yes.
Thank you, Noe.
A lot of numbers.
Yes, a lot of numbers to read. Okay, line item number 13. Discuss, consider, and take action adopting a citizen participation plan for Jim Wells County related to the CDBG mid-mod application.
No, I know.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Hi, I'm Roxy with GrantWorks. Here before you today on this item is a required citizen participation plan. It's related to your MITMOD application. And y'all have seen these citizen participation plans come across all the time. We have to do them with every grant. And it seems redundant, but basically it ensures that the general public has an opportunity to come voice their opinion or recommendations on or concerns on any of the grants that we do, CDBG related. And so this one in particular is for MITMOD. It also ensures that that we accommodate Spanish speaking. It ensures that we accommodate anyone with disabilities, and that they have the opportunity to come to any of the public hearings that we have or any meetings we have related to the grant, or to come to Commissioners Court and give public comment. So that's what the plan is, and it's in English and Spanish. It's required.
Okay, I don't know, We can read it all.
No.
Unless you want to read it.
Agenda, it's.
No.
Website, so you don't
I
have
make
to.
a motion to adopt the citizen participation plan for Jim Wells County.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have 2 more items.
Next two are hers also.
Okay, item 14, discuss, consider, take action to accept a community-wide housing and analysis regarding any
Impediments.
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 anyway, to the fair housing of Jim Wells County.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Now, that's been a long agenda.
I know. This is a short analysis. It's actually a very rudimentary analysis that is something new that we're doing with the TDA grants. They've always required, anything HUD related is always required that the county or the cities who are applying affirmatively further fair housing. That's a whole lot to say, but it's AFFH is what we call it. And basically, because these monies come through HUD, even if you're doing a street, water, drainage project, they want you, the county, to affirm that you're furthering fair housing in some way. And so normally we always, and we still will do this, but every April, around April, I'm not sure if the county does April, but most entities do April as a fair housing month. And it's by resolution. And that's been the norm for affirmatively furthering fair housing. And so this round, they do have another requirement that we either can analyze what type of housing is available as affordable housing in Jim Wells. And all the Commissioners Court has to do is accept the analysis. It's actually for points on any CDBG grant now. So we thought, well, this is something that we can just come and present. It's the analysis you have in front of you is all based off of census data. It's actually 2010 census data. That's the data that they had us pull from. So I know that's been a question for me before. Why are we using old data? Well, that's all we really have to use at this time for this type of analysis. So it gives you some demographics, but the most important thing to look at is on that second page. It'll list all the affordable and subsidized housing units in Jim Wells County, from Orange Grove all the way to Fremont. And so there's a lot there for the county. And of course, the county is spread out. And although the county does offer all of these in the different cities, and whether we partner with housing authorities or however it's done, HUD and TDA also want the county to try to consider, this isn't mandatory, but they want you to consider applying for more funding for affordable fair housing through any of the HUD programs. And so that's really what this analysis is. It gets you more points on your grant application, and that's really what we're going for. Jim Wells has a healthy amount of units, is 781 as far as 2010. And this is a little bit, actually, this analysis on the housing units is it's up to date. It's pretty much up to date. The demographics is more of the 2010 data. So pre-COVID. So we know a lot of that data has changed as far as demographics, but the housing is up to date. And so y'all do have a healthy amount of housing, but it is always recommended to, there's never probably enough for people. So it's always, it's just a recommendation. This analysis doesn't obligate the county to do anything. All you have to do is accept it.
Make a motion to accept the community-wide housing analysis for fair housing in Jim Wells County.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Okay. Item 15, discuss, consider, take action to adopt a revised resolution authorizing the submission of a Texas Community Development Block Grant, Colonia Fund Construction application, adopting required CDBG civil right policy.
So this is a resolution y'all saw last Commissioners Court, and we did already pass this resolution. So this is a revised resolution. The first one had a minimum, it said a minimum of 10,000 in matching funds. But because that is a scoring factor, we have to state a maximum of 75,000. So that match is usually done by the county crews. We partner with the city. If the city's the water, or if it's a water service provider, we partner with the water service provider. But that's really the only change in here. Y'all have already adopted all the policies and all the civil rights required documents. So this is just a revision, and it did go through Michael, so he has looked at this already, and that's really, we're just recommending the revision.
Motion to adopt the revised resolution. Second.
There's a motion, a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. I do want to make a comment. I know this is probably not on the agenda, but I do have to say that I work with a lot of cities and counties, and I worked for a county for a really long time. And working with Jim Wells County has been really excellent. Y'all staff, grants, we're running on deadlines all the time. And recently I've, with Isabel, working with Sylvia Zamora in the office. I mean, if I ask for something, Robert Silva, if I ask for something, it's done right away. And no complaints yet. So from them to me, because usually I'm griping like, hey, I need this done by tomorrow at 8, and no one's complained. So I just wanted to commend everybody, and working with Michael's been great too. I know I've asked Mr. Gomez to make some crazy changes to policies, and he always tells me no. But he always says, no, this is how no, but we do have just some demands that we ask for, and Jim Wells is one of my best counties that I work with.
We do have excellent employees, and I'm glad that you pointed it out, because there's an audience out there that needs to hear.
Oh, yeah.
And we do.
I really appreciate it. It makes, y'all hire us to do these, but we can't do it without y'all.
Right.
And then, having excellent staff like that just makes my life easier, and it makes the grant run smoother. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. Line item 16.
Michael?
Mr. Guerra? Oh, okay. Robert was pointing.
Did she say something wrong?
No, I just wanted to thank her for her comments. Thank you, Roxy.
Thank you so much. Line item 16, discuss, consider, take action for Jim Wells County Precinct Number 4, Huicho Gonzalez, to purchase 2 CM flatbed RD model for a 2018 Ford and a F-250 2018 Chevy 2500 truck to be paid by ARPA funds.
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, so they went through you, Yolanda? Everything's okay with that?
Yes, sir. They went through the procurement process, and the purchase order has been prepared. I did a single bid analysis. They obtained 3
Bid.
quotes, and only one was received. So we are prepared to present the purchase order to Rob Murdoch Sales and Services. So thank you to Commissioner Huicho and his staff for working with me on following the ARPA procurement requirements. And
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Yes, you can stay, okay. The next one's yours too. Line item 17, discuss, consider, take action for Jim Wells County Precinct 4, Huicho Gonzalez, to purchase 3 2023 Silver Autos, 1,500 crew trucks to be purchased by ARPA funds. That was okay, también?
yes, sir. I believe that we are waiting on some bids that came in, but we went through the tips
It's the
process.
It's the
Yes.
same company that the sheriff department uses.
Yes.
Mr. Byboard.
Yes.
Valadez was one that recommended.
So we were just waiting to receive those
They're
bids.
from Silsby.
Yes.
Yes,
that's
sir.
the one. Yes, sir.
Silsby Fleet or
Yes, sir.
something?
So once I obtained the documentation, the purchase order is prepared. We just needed to bring it before Commissioners Court following the county procurement policy, Category 4. Anything 50,000 or more needs to come before county commissioners.
for
Make a
approval.
motion to approve the purchase of the two vehicles through the buy board, or the.
There's a
it's
motion
not
and
the
a
buy board,
second.
But it's, what's that kind of purchasing called?
Tips or buy board?
Co-op purchasing.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Line item 18. Okay, discuss, consider, and take action to authorize the purchase of a 2022 66-inch pet food roller to be financed by government capital and to be paid out of the Precinct 3 Renee Chapa's R&B funds. Is that okay?
Yes, she already went through government capital. They went ahead, got the bids, and it's being financed with it, and it's good.
I make
Make a motion to
approve.
accept items presented.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Can I borrow it?
Close.
Line item 19, discuss, consider, take action to approve the permit application of Kinder Morgan Pipeline Crossing under County Road 239, 227, 229, 226, 308, 313, 307, 309, 307, 305, 349, 357, 358, 360. Okay, is there anybody with Kinder Morgan?
Yeah. Commissioner, I've been dealing with Samantha Schultz, who is the representative of Kinder Morgan. She sent us the proposed map. Of course, this pipeline is you and Commissioner Chapa are aware, goes through the northern part of Jim Wells County. We consulted with the Nueces River Authority regarding any floodplain issues. They designated the 2 points where the pipeline will come above ground and have some shutoff valves. And we ran those through the safety department. Emedet Gonzalez reviewed those. Those are also not in the floodplain. So all that's left now is some of the roads that may be affected. I think there's 11 possible cuts. The permit fee for each is $500. So I think the check that they have tendered is for $5,500.
Yes, and I have the check in my office. Once you all okay it, it'll be distributed to the different ones.
There's 4 crossings for precinct 2 and 7 for precinct 3, I think.
So are y'all okay with it?
4, 5, 6.
United-
Hey, I have 8.
Are y'all okay with it?
Yeah.
And
Did
the
you say
unfortunate-
they're gonna bore under there, or I didn't, are they gonna bore or they're gonna cut the road?
I'm not sure what they have planned, but it will affect the roads in one way or another.
Yeah, but they'll leave it like they found it, right?
Yeah, that's the idea, right? In other words, if they cut the road, if they bore, well, then there's usually minimal damage, if any. If they cut the road, yes, then our policy is that they must put it back and with the same quality of road it was before they cut it. They can't just put caliche there where they cut. They got to put some type of asphalt to match up.
Okay, there's 4 for precinct 2 and 7 for precinct 3.
I make a motion to approve the permit applications for
second
Kinder
it.
Morgan.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Sorry, Commissioner, you said there was 4 for you?
4 for
And 7.
2 and 7 for 3.
308.
Okay, one of the 308 is his, right? Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, discussion about ARPA, that rep material allocated for Jim Wells County from the Texas Department of Transportation. I think they're encouraging us to pick up our allotment, like, you started? No.
I
So
did.
I think
We haven't
Margie
done
started,
anything.
it'd be a good time for you all to get together.
It is hard, but the guys are using the loader and it seems to be a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's heavier.
Yeah.
there's,
See, the thing is, I don't have a loader right now. I'm in the process of purchasing one. Ours broke, so.
Will they leave it there?
yeah. So, anyway, that's all they want,
you
is
need
for
to
us to
use
pick
it?
it up so they can allocate some newer material. That material's been there for 10, 12 years. You know,
Yes, sir. Sure has.
Y'all need to use it, y'all can use it. The guys leave it there.
Okay. Make sure it's got diesel.
$4 a gallon, yeah.
Okay.
And also, we need to send them
The form.
an account of what we pick up. So I think Kel Morton, I think that's mostly what he needs is if we pick it up, we need to send them a report.
Daily, he wants it daily.
A daily report.
Y'all have that form?
Yeah, I have a form, you know, you just fill in the loads.
Yes.
Okay, okay, so that's all they had, you know, I think, if we don't pick it up, you know, I think Nueces County is gonna start picking it up.
Well, we had requested some last year. I talked to the main office in Corpus and requested some extra. So they're probably, that's why one of the reasons they're pushing us to get as much as we can. Because Fremont has bukus of it, and then they get some more in La Gloria at the school. And so then we have this over here, so I'm trying to,
And there's a new
it's real
pile.
far for me to go from here all the way to Fremont. You know? So I was hoping I could get some on that side, but they,
Well, anyway, we
Email.
need to pick it up and, so they can allocate some.
I don't see why they don't just give it all to us. Because eventually they're gonna give it all to us, and it's just going to waste there. It's been there long enough, and it's a
So
shame.
hard. It's hardening.
Unfortunately, they're not gonna do that.
Well,
Well,
that's why I went to
They
Corpus and
should, you
talked
know,
to them over there,
they should.
They said they
But
could.
anyway, the bottom line is, let's pick it up, guys, and so we can get rid of that pile, and maybe they'll give us some newer
A
material.
newer pile, yeah.
Okay, that's, any more discussion? No?
No, sir. Okay.
Okay, discuss, consider, take action to authorize the county judge Pedro P. Trevino to execute any and all documents necessary to acknowledge a waiver of survey on behalf of Jim Wells County regarding the purchase of a real property described as lot 43 to 48, block 90, city of Fremont, Jim Wells County.
Commissioners,
Property is trying-
Yes, sir. It's a church.
yes, this is a church that is no longer in use. It's going to be purchased by the county. We're going through Stewart Title. The original earnest money contract called for the county to pay for a survey. Ms. Moran indicated that survey could not be paid with ARPA funds unless we went through the procurement process and advertised for the surveyors, which would, delay the purchase. And after talking to Galen Storm at Stewart Title, she indicated that the title company is not requiring a survey because this is in a platted subdivision of the city of Fremont. In fact, this is probably the oldest platted section of town. And I went out there yesterday to check the boundaries, and the historical marker says that the church was actually built there in 1910. The town was platted in 1909. So this has been it's been owned by the church for over 100 years. And the blocks are clearly delineated on the deed. It's 6 blocks, I believe, 6 city blocks. Our neighbor to the north will be the school district. Our neighbor to the east will be the Fremont Chamber of Commerce. The boundaries are clearly staked on the 2 sides that don't front on the street, and then and it's being a corner lot, 2 sides of the church front on a street, which is First Street and I want to say Bernice. So I don't think there's any issue with needing a survey, but just to be on the safe side, we brought this to Commissioner's Court so that at the closing, if there's a document that the title company wants us to sign, that the judge can go ahead and sign that.
I make a motion to authorize the county judge, Pedro P. Trevino, to execute all the documents for this survey.
The waiver of survey.
You indicate by saying aye.
All right.
A waiver of survey.
Right.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Are y'all gonna vote?
And the next item is just to authorize him to close the deal. Those are all the documents you signed when we actually exchange the money and they give us a deed.
Your motion on that?
I make a motion to authorize Judge Pedro P. Trevino to execute all closing documents on behalf of Jim Wells County.
Second.
There's a motion, and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, line item 23, discuss, consider, take action to approve revision to the Jim Wells County investment policy in compliance with the Public Fund Investment Act.
Commissioner, I brought this to Commissioner's Court just to update our investment policy. It's been a little outdated, so I just brought it to.
Are we making any money, Mark?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
It's coming.
Good, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, line item 24, certification of funds by county auditor for general fund number 12, election sales of assets in the amount of $300. Certified funds in Fund 12 to be used for election equipment.
Commissioners Court pursuant to Local Government Code 111.0108, I hereby certify that Jim Wells County has received $300 in the general fund from a sale of assets for expenditures. This general fund and Fund 12 are for expenditures to be incurred by Fund 12 and that such proceeds are available for appropriate expenditures. The certification allows the addition of these funds to the 2023 budget as an amendment. Since the expenditures will be funded and paid for from the general fund, I hereby request the following budget amendment to 2023 Jim Wells County budget. In the general fund sale of assets 12-000-370.81, $300, and the expense item is election equipment 12-490-573.00 for $300. Thank you.
Motion to accept the certification.
I make a motion to accept the certification from the county auditor for the general fund 12.
I'll second.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Line item 25, certification of funds by county auditor for general fund 12 opium abatement fund in the amount of $52,280.11. Certified funds in Fund 12 to be used for miscellaneous.
Commissioners Court pursuant to Local Government Code 111.0108, I hereby certify that Jim Wells County has received $52,280.11 in the general fund from the opiate abatement fund for expenditures. These general funds in Fund 12 are for expenditures to be incurred by Fund 12 and that such proceeds are available for appropriate expenditures. This certification allows for addition of these funds to the 2023 budget as an amendment. Since these expenditures will be funded and paid for by Fund 12, I hereby certify the following budget amendments to 2023 Jim Wells County budget. General Fund, Opiate Abatement Fund, which I just recently created to have it specified, is 12-000-370.81 and it's 52,280.11. And I put it in miscellaneous 12-409-499.00. It's 52,280.11. And I just want to say that I put it in here because I didn't know specifically what y'all were going to do with it. We put it in here and I did talk to Michael to see if there were any boundaries that we could spend it on. So it's in here, wherever y'all decide, or if it can't be used for something, we're not going to put it on there. But it is certified and it's in the budget.
I don't,
Michael.
Michael might want to chime in
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, I did reach out to our outside counsel, the litigation counsel for the county on this opioid litigation, and asked him that question, whether these funds needed to be earmarked for a particular purpose or whether they could be put into general revenue and used for just our normal operating costs. And he did answer yesterday, and and said that he would get back to us. So we still don't have an answer on that. But Noe setting it up in this separate line item is the safe way to do it for now until we get some guidance from the council and see if it needs to be used for, since this is a health.
Well, this is the first time we receive opium abatement, no? So
got
what
one
did we
before.
do with it
Yeah, I
the
think we
last
got one
time?
before.
Same thing.
We just,
We'll go, huh? I'll have to check on that. I don't remember getting it.
so how many more years do we have on that?
I don't know how much. How long was the contract for, Michael?
No, it's still open. It's still open. We've they just settled the second I think this is the first portion. We're
This is the
about to
first
get.
one we get.
Yeah, but they just settled the second one, so we should be expecting another check in a few months. And it should be, the second one should be bigger than this one.
But I believe this is the first time for this one, because I had to
Yeah.
set it up.
Okay. But anyway, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept item number 25 is presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion, a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, this is a good one.
He likes this one.
26 is certification of funds by county auditors for Road and Bridge number 2, Fund 22, in the amount of $42,048. Certified funds in Fund 22 to be used for equipment.
Commissioners Court, pursuant to Local Government Code 111.0108, I hereby certify that Jim Wells County has received $42,048 in Road and Bridge number 2, Fund 22, from the sale of assets for expenditures. This Road and Bridge funds are for expenditures to be incurred in the Road and Bridge number 22, and that such proceeds are available for the appropriate expenditures. This certification allows for the addition of these funds to the 2023 budget as an amendment. Since the expenditures will be funded and paid for by Road and Bridge 2 Fund, I hereby request the following budget amendment to the 2023 county budget. Road and Bridge number 2 Fund, sale of assets, and that's from an auction, Fund 364.10, $42,048, and the expenditure item is equipment 22,622, 573.00, $42,048. Thank you.
That's one for the auction, Mr. Garcia.
Yes, it's the
I'll
auction.
make a motion to accept item number 26 as
There's a
presented.
motion, a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Line item 27, discuss, consider, take action to approve county treasurer's report and other monthly reports. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Line item 28, discuss, consider, take action to approve auditor's monthly report.
Commissioners Court, the first thing I'm gonna go over is the auditor's monthly report for the month ending March 31st, 2027. And I'm just gonna summarize. For the expenditures, everybody should be at 25%. At this time, it is through the first quarter. Everybody's listed on there, and anybody over 25, usually we can account as to why they are. In the expenditures, we're supposed to be at 25. We are at 26 at this point. We're 1% off, and I just want to say that I can account for that 1% being negative. But hopefully, once we start getting all of this reimbursements that we've put out in the general fund from the grants, we should be okay. But right now, those monies have been put out there in the general fund, but reimbursements are hopefully coming, and that should be adjusted.
Thank you, Noe. I'd like to
Next
make a
one.
motion to,
One more.
okay, go ahead.
The next one's a sales tax, and I just gotta say, our sales tax is doing great. It's really moving up. Last year, we had an increase all year, and so far this year, there has been an increase on the increase. So net current period for Jim Wells County for March is 279,801.10. At this time last year, we had 236,178.621, for a difference of 43,622.49, or an 18.47% positive change. For the year, this year, we have 908,588.62. At this time last year, we had 760,783.34. For a difference at this time from last year, we have collected 147,805.28 more than last year, a percentage change of 19.43. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the items presented.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 29, discuss, consider, take action on payrolls and bills as submitted by the county auditor with the exception of 52, 53, and 54.
I make a motion to approve the bills
I'll
for the
second it.
exception of 52, 53, and 54.
So motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Yes, maybe I should have started with, we had an employee by the name of Florentino Flores.
Rivera.
He worked for us for a long,
Rivera.
Rivera, I'm sorry. And he worked for us for a long time, and he was with the safety department, took care of safety, emergency management, all, he was everything. And he was one of the smartest individuals that I've known. Very quiet, went about his business. He really, he represented, very humble. He was very, very good at what he did. And I'd like to have a moment of silence for him. Hey, rest in peace. So with that, we can adjourn, motion to adjourn.
Made a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, guys, we have a lot of paperwork to sign.